since I do not have anything better to do, uh, I just talk with myself on uh, a video like this, and I have a particular topic which I want to address in this conversation with myself. And at this moment, I want to talk about how the silence that you can experience when you talk with yourself is actually a let go, yeah, where you let go into the silence, and where whatever it is that you have been troubled with or that you have been busy with, that you could not let go, you can actually let it go in the silence which occurs because you talk with yourself. And you create that silence. You create that silence with your sound, with your expression, with your permission, with your enjoyment also of expressing yourself. And there's nothing in particular that you do to make this happen. It just happens by itself. And you may actually sometimes not even notice that it is happening, and maybe you notice it later, but maybe you also notice it immediately. It is very interesting how sometimes you kind of look back and you suddenly realize, like, oh wow, I have been quiet. And sometimes you kind of feel in the moment like, oh wow, I am really becoming quiet, or I am speaking from a different sense of who I am when I am quiet. Yeah. And so all of these things are possible, and there are different angles to this because we are, of course, in our lives always affected by certain circumstances, and at any given moment we are again impacted by something that we maybe read on social media, or you hear it from somewhere, you turn on the TV, or you talk with somebody, things, or you are reminded of something, and all of a sudden there's a whole involvement with that memory. And so we are continuously, with regard to our language, we are continuously distracted from the fact that we are the ones who are doing the language. We are the ones who cause the language. Yeah, without us, there wouldn't be any language. So it is because we are there that there is language. And so regardless of what this language is, sometimes it can be that we are kind of obsessing about things, or that we can't seem to figure something out, or we are frustrated about something. We seem to be going around in circles, and we have all got our own troubles to deal with. And when you then realize that this language that you have, which you say to yourself, this language is in the here and now. Your sound is in the here and now. Yeah, when you hear yourself speak, you're in the here and now. And then all of a sudden, the language comes from this here and now experience, which is the experience of silence. And here and now is the same as silence. Here and now is the same as space. Here and now is the same as, what we also call from the heart. Here and now is your sound. And one moment you hear it, and the next moment you don't hear it, but it was there. And it was there, and it disappears into nothingness. And you can speak from that with yourself, and let yourself know that this is really wonderful. To let go into this silence. I haven't done this before. So this is the first time that I do it. And you can also, of course, say, "Oh, I just came up with it." Yes, I did. And you can also come up with all kinds of things and experiment with it and see for yourself where it takes you. Yeah. I, at some point in my 20s, for the first time, heard myself speak, and it was a life-altering moment that I heard my own sound while I was speaking. And suddenly I felt such a well-being just listening to my own sound. And of course, to be able to enjoy your own sound, everybody can do that. But we don't do that because we do not give ourselves the permission to do that. So there is really a need for us to say to ourselves, all right, it's allowed. You are allowed to enjoy your own sound. You are allowed to enjoy yourself. Yeah. You are allowed to enjoy what you say. You are allowed to say what you want to say and to enjoy it. And to know what you know and to accept what you know. To accept that you are intelligent. To accept that you are knowing what you want to say. And to also accept that what you say, it disappears. You know, you may not believe me, but I have never in my life been so quiet as I am in the last couple of days. It is just amazing. I have been writing about this also, about being without language. And I will make another video in addition to this one about being without language, because I will read that writing that I did about that, because it was a really good writing, very important writing. But in any case, I just feel so quiet. It's amazing. And people have this saying like, he's absent-minded. I'm an absent-minded person. I'm proud to be absent-minded. Because, there's another thing, and you may have already heard me say this before, but it cannot be repeated often enough. There really is no language inside of us. This is such a crucially important topic to be addressed. And you need to repeatedly say this to yourself. And you need to just also explore your own knowledge base on this issue. Because if you know only the rudimentary, if you have only superficial knowledge of neuroscience, yeah, you know about what your brain does, and you know that there's different parts of your brain, yeah, the parietal lobe, the frontal lobes, the occipital lobes, and you know that different parts of your brain, presumably they process different information, information processing. That is the word that comes up when the brain is referred to as some sort of a mechanism that I don't know that you sort of just file things in your memory and so forth. The brain is not having any language. There is no language inside your brain. And therefore, there is no mind. There really, and this is not some sort of spiritual concept. This is not some sort of, this has nothing to do with meditation or what, all these things that people talk about when they talk about consciousness. No, it has to do with language, and it has to do with using your language correctly. There is no language inside of you. And using your language correctly means that you speak in such a way that you know that you are not speaking your mind. No, you're just saying what you're capable of saying. You are saying what you want to say. And you're saying what you enjoy saying. And you know that you're saying that to yourself, in your own experiment by yourself. You know that you're doing that because when you stop, or when you finished, when it stops, you just experience silence. You're just in bliss. How can it be? Well, it's because you are expressing your true self. And true self, there is no inner self that is expressed outwardly. No, there's just you. So there's you expressed and there's you unexpressed. There's you with words and you without words. It's still you. Yeah. And that is also so beautiful, that there is no in or out. Yeah, that is no idea that they're inside of me and outside of me. That's just a language matter. It's just a construct. My body, inside my body, outside of my body. Yeah. These are just words. And when you talk about your brain, or when you talk about your thoughts, you're just always saying something. You're always hearing something. When you speak about your memory or your associations, you are talking, yeah, or you're reading something, yeah. And when you say, "Oh, I comprehend that," well, how do you know you comprehend it? Because you've said so, because you've listened to somebody. So it has nothing to do with what goes on inside of you. Yeah, of course your brains are working. That is of course true, but there's no language there inside of you. That language is only overt always. So another way of just capturing what I was just starting out with, the silence and the let go into the silence, has to do with your full acceptance of the fact, the absolute fact, irrefutable fact, that language occurs outside of you. Always. Language is always outside of you. That is the let go into the silence. It is remarkable. And once we have accepted that, once we have acknowledged that, once we have given ourselves permission to enjoy that is the truth which has not been acknowledged, nobody talks about this in this way. We give all sorts of spiritual, psychological connotations to this. It takes us totally astray into fantasy land. All kind of concepts are being dragged in, which have nothing to do with this. It has to do with listening to yourself. And what is listening to yourself? It simply means being aware of the fact that you produce a sound when you speak. Yeah? And not getting carried away by what you say. You say something, all right, but you don't need to be carried away by what you say. You can still hear it. You can just keep listening. And if you do that, you will suddenly realize, like, oh, wait, the speaker is the listener. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm one with myself. I'm one with my language. I'm one with my experience. And all of a sudden, the silence is speaking through me. And in letting go of my words, being fluid with my words, my language is just all of a sudden happening because I am the master of it. And everybody can do this. Yeah. So, in conclusion, language occurs outside of you, and the let go into silence is the understanding, the full acknowledgement, the full acceptance of the fact that there is no language inside of you. Regardless of what happens, regardless of what has happened. Language was never inside of you, is not inside of you, and will never be inside of you, even though you believe it is, even though you fantasize it is, even though you fall back again into your old conditioning with disembodied language, which makes you believe that you have thoughts, which makes you believe that you are thinking. Who is this you who is thinking? There's no such thing. There's no thinking. Yeah? You are saying something if you talk about this so-called thinking. And if somebody talks about what they are thinking, they're talking about it. You hear that person say something. And when you read what somebody was supposedly thinking, you are reading what they've written. So it's always overt. And you just gotta sort of just allow yourself to know that, to get to know that. And by talking with yourself, just like what I'm doing right now, by sitting with yourself, you let yourself know. And then when you have said what you have wanted to say, when you have addressed what is something that catches your attention, something that is important to you, something that you need to pay attention to, something that you need to talk about with yourself. When you have said it, you are blessed with silence. And you are blessed with a complete let go of everything. Yeah, everything. You are actually aware of your language enlightenment. That's what that is. I can do this the whole day. And, for me, there's no such thing as talking which prevents the silence. As a matter of fact, talking always deepens the silence when you talk and have embodied language. Yeah. I feel so happy that I can make this recording today. Oh yeah, and underneath the video, I will post a link to my blog so that you can also read about this on my blog. Yeah, then you have heard me speak and you've listened, and then you can read what I've written. Okay.